to the Prophecy Club. You know, there's not very many things in life that we can claim originality on, or someone that can say, hey, you know, I started that, or I can say that I found that. But in this case, Prophecy Club and one of its people can claim, yep, we found this. Now, here's the story. Stephen Dollins, an ex-Satanist high priest of the Church of Satan and speaker on several videos with the Prophecy Club, including The Occult in Your Living Room, Under the Spell of Harry Potter, one day picked up a set of cards, and it was called Illuminati New World Order card game. He just stuck them in his drawer and didn't do anything with them until one day he pulled them out and was flipping through them, and he said all of a sudden he began to see something that he'd never seen before. He realized that this card game was far more than just a card game. You see, in the early 1990s, the Secret Service actually attempted to stop the distribution of a simple deck of cards called Illuminati New World Order. Or were they just a simple deck of cards? One of the cards clearly portrays an airplane slamming into the World Trade Centers. Another shows the explosion at the Pentagon exactly like it happens. Stephen says that they seem to contain the Illuminati's secret plans for things like martial law, weapons confiscation, population reduction, controlled diseases re-released, a financial collapse coming, and by the way, that may be hitting any day now, worthless currency, that also may be hitting any day now, and the two events just prior to the coming of the Antichrist, all paralleling Bible prophecy. Now, I think you'll find this deck of cards and what he shows you in these deck of cards very interesting, and we're going to make an unbelievable offer for this DVD, normally valued at $30. Today, just a gift of $15. Steve Dollins, Illuminati, Game or Blueprint for World Domination.
One was to woo us into accepting his policies regarding the nation's financial debt. What was that? Nothing. Absolutely nothing. All he did was get us more and more into debt and get our nations more and more into bankruptcy, toward bankruptcy. The other thing he did was he dismantled our entire military power with a smile on his face. You remember Bill? I mean, he was one of the most smiley presidents we've ever seen. And everything he did, he had a smile on his face. You remember when the bases were being closed down, and they were telling us we don't need those anymore. We're not at war. We don't need those anymore. And I remember seeing Henry Groover in one of his presentations, and in one of his presentations he was talking about a colonel that he said came up to him after a meeting. And this colonel was from SAC. And he said, brother, he said, I want to tell you. He said, I'm a born-again Christian. I'm in the military, and I'm in a high position at SAC. He said, but I want to tell you that everything you said tonight was right on. He said, he said, you didn't hear this from me. He said, but I want to tell you something else. He said, we've been so demilitarized and so desensitized to strike that if a country were to attack us right now, there would be no retaliation time. We don't have the missiles. We don't have the weapons to strike back. In other words, first strike, and that's it. That's scary. That's real scary. Remember President Bush said, read my lips, no new taxes. And what did they do? Pass tax laws behind our backs. Brothers and sisters, when's the last time anyone asked you to vote on a tax law? They won't. They won't. Remember, we don't make decisions for ourselves. We're not able to. We're cattle. We're sheep. And during Clinton's administration, no promises made during his election campaign were ever fully kept. He was kind of like these other presidents. They say what they're going to do, then they get in office and they forgot. But see, what they did was they did exactly what they wanted us to do. We started relying on what they said rather than what they did. So we had been programmed to rely on words rather than actions. We had sweeping reforms. Tax laws were passed and implemented along with other government decisions, and it was all done without our knowledge or our opinions. You see the picture that's being painted? Remember, God is showing what's happened in the past, why we've gotten the way we are, and where we are now, and what's yet to come. Oh, and then we had conspiracy theorists. Uh-oh, that's you guys. Oh, yeah. Did you know that if you attend a Prophecy Club meeting, more likely than not, your name is on a list? Praise God. You might even have your phone tapped. We know for a fact at home that our phone is tapped. We've tried it. There's a test you can do. We've done it 3 times. It's tapped. So we're careful about what we say over the phone, over the airways. Illuminati, communist conspiracy, secret shadow government, New World Order, even UFOs. And you're told, oh, it's all been one hoax, you know. Look at this. This powerless and much mocked group is prized by the Illuminati because their wild ravings often contain useful ideas. It amazes me some of the stupid things that our media does. Remember after 9/11, we were kind of paranoid anyway. We were looking at Middle Eastern people and all of a sudden seeing terrorists and everybody. And I remember that ABC, CBS, and CNN were all coming out with specials on terrorism. And I remember watching on CNN one night, they were doing a special program, and the guy, he was like this. He said, "Tonight, terrorism in America. Tonight we look at what might happen if terrorists were to get a hold of and destroy one of our nuclear power plants." Well, if they weren't thinking about it then, they sure are now. In the 1980s, late 1980s, there was a spinoff of the X-Files called The Lone Gunman. There were 4 episodes out. Did you know that in one of those episodes was a show about terrorists training to be pilots? And guess what their plan was? To drive a plane into the World Trade Center. Guess where they got the idea for 9/11? You see how things happen? And basically, we're giving them the ideas. Go to Remora. You can tell who he's satirical of. Next up on Gordo, people who believe in conspiracies, are they nuts or just too stupid to live? You decide. See, if you believe in any kind of government conspiracy, you're thought to be either involved in some sort of religious cult. Oh yeah, try to talk about some of these things to people in your family. You know, they'll look at you, what have you got into now? You know? Or you're mentally unstable and you're dangerous. BATF, this was an interesting card that came up. Here you see the man standing there, the soldier standing there. He's got his ammo belt on.